That was nice. Well, maybe nice is the wrong word, but fucking horrible.
I really got horny.
Welcome back to the channel. I'm Dan,
I'm mad.
and we're going to talk Joker spoilers.
So if you haven't watched the film, do
That's
not
your
watch
warning.
this, because you will be in bother.
But we do recommend that you go see it.
Yes. So go, shoo, get out. Right, so spoiler time.
Alright, where to start? So, in the spoiler-free review, we kind of said that at the end we didn't feel fully satisfied. And
In some ways we did, in some ways we didn't.
yeah, but like for me at least, when he's on the talk show and he shoots Murray Franklin or Robert De Niro, I kind of just hoped that he was going to like pull out a machine gun and just completely like massacre the whole audience, which I know is a sensitive issue right now, especially over in America. But if we just look at this film as an entertainment, as a piece of entertainment, then I just wanted more massacring.
It's a callback to the comics, because that's what he does in The Dark Knight
Yeah,
Returns.
but he didn't massacre everyone like I thought
No.
he was gonna.
You could argue again that this is just him at the start of his criminal journey. And so he can work his way up to buying a Tommy gun or something like that.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, he's stuck with a shitty revolver for now. Can't blame the guy for only going for the one.
Yeah, I suppose he's got a limited amount of bullets. No, but I can't help but feel like I came away slightly unsatisfied. And another thing was, after he's like laying on the car and he's kind of knocked out, and then he stands up and there's this like really, I think it's a slow motion shot, but I could be wrong, and he kind of turns around to like look at the camera. I thought that he was going to do like a definitive Joker laugh at that point. Because up until then he's done his like kind of pathological laughter, but never like a proper like I genuinely find this funny kind of laugh. And I was like, he's gonna do it, and he didn't do it. And I was like, I really wanted that.
Yeah, the whole point in that was he's now establishing himself as like the leader of a movement kind of thing.
Yeah,
And the way he spreads the blood across his lips to make that smile we've all seen before, I feel like that would have worked better if he didn't already have like the mouth thing from earlier. Because his makeup, it already comprised of a mouth. If he had something similar, like maybe, heaven forbid, Jared Leto setup, where it was literally just like lipstick,
yeah,
and then he spread it out using the blood,
That
that could have been a great symbolism.
that's a good point. That would have been cool to see.
But yeah, I'd say most of what worked really well. In terms of a plot device, not knowing what was real and what was just in Arthur's imagination
Yeah,
was a very intriguing way to experience this film, because half of what you see doesn't even happen. Like the whole love angle with the woman down the corridor, that's all just in his head. None of it really happens, and it doesn't actually reveal this twist until about 2/3 of the way through the film, when he really starts to unravel.
which I'm glad that turned out not to be true, because one of my only flaws with the film at that point is the whole time I was just thinking like, I don't buy that romance. Like, why would she be interested in him?
It
Like,
felt really rushed as well. Like 1 minute they're speaking in the lift, and next she's off to see his comedy show and they're making out and stuff. It's like,
it's like if a clown came to just kiss, if you just opened your door and a clown came and kissed you, why would you be in, like, I was
you're
like,
not setting a good example for your child, baby. Listen, stop it.
I was like, she's way younger than him. She's, clearly a lot mentally sounder than he is. Like, I just wasn't buying it. And then, like you said, like when she was like having a good time at his comedy show, and you were like, why would you be having a good time at the worst comedy
because
show?
he's fucking falling on his ass.
Yeah, so
awful.
I was really pleased when that turned out not to be true. I was like, that's genius. But again, it's the king of comedy effect, and you don't really know what's true and what's not. I think, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think I pretty much have been able to sort what's true from what isn't, or at least I've come up with my own version in my head of what's true and what's not. But Todd Phillips, I saw in an interview, he said he knows what's true and false. Like, there is a definitive answer. He just said he's not going to... well, he said he will, but not for a few years. Like, he wants people to kind of speculate on it for a few years, and then he'll come out and say what it is.
It'll take a few years to work it out. It's not that deep.
Well, that's the thing, we don't know, do we? Like, we could, until he says no one actually knows for sure, but yeah.
The twists I did enjoy were actually the ones regarding Arthur's mother, because in the film it insinuates that he is actually the child of Thomas Wayne, and so in relation to that, that makes him Bruce's
Batman's brother.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, of course, the brothers become the best enemies you can ask for. And then it just turns out, no, his mum's actually just mental as well, and she's in part responsible for why he is the way he is.
Yeah.
With the with him being subject to like abuse from her partners. I don't know if they were actually stepdads or whatever, but it just shows like how from the moment he got adopted by this woman, he has almost been set up for failure.
Yeah, yeah, and also like his mum is like the one thing in his life that he could rely on.
Yeah.
And then when that's pulled from underneath him, he's like, well now I've got nothing.
She's portrayed in a way where she's like, there's something wrong with her, but it's in such an innocent way that you just think it's related to age or something, you know, that develops like. But yeah, it just turns out that even when she didn't have all these like problems that you'd associate with age, it turns out she was still mental in the first place.
Yeah. Something I thought was really weird was that he baths his mum and she's just completely like, I don't know what I thought. I don't know if I thought she'd have like a bikini on or something, but like there's a shot where you can tell that she's like completely naked. And I was like, that's just weird.
Well, you'd hope you wouldn't be attracted to her, wouldn't you?
No, but it's still weird. Like, I don't know.
I think that's the whole point. It's a weird family.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah. But yeah, that creeped me out.
Robert De Niro did a great job with his character in terms of being a likable TV host for...
I fucking hated him. I wanted him to get shot.
Oh no, I did as well. But you can see,
why, like, to the audience,
to his audience and like people watching on TV, why people liked him. Like even Arthur's mum was like almost encapsulated by him, just like ooh.
Yeah.
And so when like the Joker calls him out on all his shit and basically just says the only reason you kept showing my clip and then invited me onto the show was to make fun of me and in relation make yourself look better. And so it was very satisfying watching his brains get split.
It was. I think as part of me thinks that casting of Robert De Niro is just a bit on the nose because obviously he basically plays Joaquin Phoenix's character in The King of Comedy. And there's a bit of me that just goes like, I can't help but watch it and be reminded of The King of Comedy, and it's like it pulled me out of the film a little bit, but yeah, I mean we'll get into nitpicks at that point.
Yeah. Watching Arthur Fleck slowly devolve almost into the Joker mentality, I thought was quite good. However, some bits that we didn't really enjoy was almost a repetitive sense, as almost to like try shove the fact that he is slowly losing it, like almost in your face. Like there were, I swear, like 3 to 4 instances of showing his laughter and where it comes from, like it's due to his mental condition. But it happens like at 3 points within 10 minutes where you're watching essentially the same thing, and and it's meant to make you uncomfortable, but it was just teetering on the edge of like making me lose interest. It's just like I've seen this already, you know. I know what this is representing and why it's in the film, but it doesn't need to be as forced upon.
Yeah, no, I the first, I don't know, maybe the first 10 or 15 minutes of the film, he'd done it a few times, and I remember thinking, this is before we found out, like before he showed the card to that woman, and we found out that he's got like the pathological thing. But before we found that out, and he'd done it a few times, it just felt to me like, the repetitiveness didn't really bother me, but it just felt like they were trying to shove like the new Joker laugh down our throats a bit. And then when you find out why, like, okay, well, it does make sense, like per the story and per the character.
I'll give it this: it was a clever twist on it, because we have had different Joker laughs and whatever Jared Leto's was, but this laugh was more focused on pain and like an unwillingness to laugh, but he's being forced to, and it hurts him to do so. While you have like Heath, who was just like chaotic glee, and Nicholson, who was just like, well, I don't know how to describe Nicholson. How would you describe it?
I don't know, I've only seen it once and I can't really remember. So.
Where it's just like self-amusement then, I suppose. This shows like the other side of that, where you can tell he doesn't want to laugh, and when it does, it just hurts him like to the soul.
Yeah. But that's where I'm coming from with, like, I love that twist on it, but then at the point where he is the Joker and he is comfortable in himself, he's like, then he should be laughing with glee, like Heath Ledger, because at that point he does genuinely find killing funny, and it's like, well, I wanted like a scene or a moment where he just does like his definitive Joker laugh, and I just didn't feel like we got that, so that kind of bummed me out a little bit. But so obviously towards the end of the film, not Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, but one of the other clowns that he inspires goes and kills Thomas and Martha Wayne. And honestly, I'm not sure how I feel about the fact that it wasn't Joaquin Phoenix who did it. Because I know obviously the Joker doesn't do it in... Well, I'm sure there's some iteration of the comics where the Joker does it, but generally it's just a street-level thug. But they set up this personal hatred between Arthur and Thomas Wayne because the whole he won't pay for them stuff when he could, and he promises that he will, and then when he thinks he's his dad and he's not. And so they set up like a reason or multiple reasons for Arthur to want to kill this guy, and then someone else ends up doing it. And I feel like they kind of robbed him of that moment a little bit.
Yeah. Especially at the end, in a scene which I think works really well, it's where he's speaking to the psychiatrist woman in what I can only assume is either Arkham Asylum or the mental hospital.
Yeah.
And it cuts back to Bruce in the alleyway with his dead parents, and Arthur's laughing. And then when she asks him why he's laughing, like if she can get an insight on the joke, he says, "Oh, you wouldn't get it." I thought that was very cleverly well done, because it was almost like he knew that he's just like caused what will essentially be his greatest rival. But because he wasn't the one who killed the parents, like, I think it'd be better if it had been
Do you know what? I've just got that now. I didn't even get that at the time.
Oh, well done.
I just thought he meant you wouldn't get it because the disparity between his sense of humour and her sense of humour. I never even got the fucking Batman.
But it's the way he says, like, you wouldn't get it, and I'm like, well, in a way, neither do you. Because
it hasn't happened yet.
You weren't the one who killed them. Like, I think you're right in the sense that if he had been the one to kill the Waynes and then, like, gotten maybe, like, caught Bruce's eye or something and just been like that little bit of knowledge that this, like, he might come back into my life one day in some shape or form, that would have been really good.
There's a nice kind of like what's the word, cyclical nature to the whole thing as well, because obviously what ends up causing Arthur to go insane, or one of the things, is the fact that when he was young he was, taken from his family, or I think he said abandoned.
Yeah.
And then he had to be adopted and moved into this new family. And now Bruce Wayne's in a similar situation where, his parents are gone as well, and he's a young kid. And it's almost like a mirror image thing. Yeah. But it's that thing of like, well, it's how you let it affect you.
Well, that's why it works.
Do you go for good or do you go for bad?
That's why it works. Everyone sees Batman and the Joker as being the mirror image of one another. The Joker is what Batman would become if Batman allowed himself to go down this, like, darker path.
Oh, okay.
So...
yeah, if he didn't have rules.
Throughout the film, you really want to root for Arthur, even though, in a sense, he is the protagonist, but he's also the antagonist as well. He grows up to be. But none of the people that he kills, you feel any, like, bit sorry for.
Yeah, that's true.
It's almost like, that he's justified in what he's doing. What he's doing is wrong, but you get to see it from both points of view. And I think his conversation with Robert De Niro's character reflects that well, where Robert De Niro is saying, like, you're finding murdering people funny. And Arthur's just like, no, it's the type of people that I'm murdering that I find funny.
But obviously because he becomes the Joker, at a certain point he's going to start killing innocent people.
Well, yeah, it's the first sign of descending into madness, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just like, where does that line eventually blur where you start just killing who you fancy?
I would never kill who I fancied, and I couldn't go out with them. But no,
just keep their body in the... No.
But no, this is where it becomes a bit of a blurry line. It's like, you do this origin story of Joker, and by the end of the film, he's only just Joker. Like, he's not the Joker that we know and love, really. He's just like, like you said, the tip of the iceberg of that. And then with the whole, because it now has been like way more well received than they probably ever hoped it would be, now they probably do want to bring him back, and it's probably going to make a shit ton of money. And Joaquin Phoenix probably won't go back, and now it's like we're going to be stuck with this great new Joker, and we can't pit him against Batman. So it's like, that's like a murky waters thing. Like, what do we do there? We'll have to wait and see, I guess.
Yeah, you see shades of what he could be when the people from his work come to visit him, and he ends up just brutally murdering one with, first scissors, and then just repeatedly smashing his head against the wall. Like, I feel like that's the bit that people will take, like, offense to the most. It's just like, I can't believe you're showing me this. Like, how dare you? And it is brutal, but I feel like people have gone a bit over the top with what it has like turned out to
I
be.
don't think it's that scene that people. I think people are probably pissed about the shooting scenes.
I
Like,
know, I've seen people like complaining about the unnecessary gore to it.
Really?
Because his kills are like very raw, very personal.
Yeah.
Like it's not like you've seen from the Joker in past films where he's just like killing people needlessly.
Yeah.
These are really like personal to him.
Yeah. You know how he's dyed his hair green, he's got the white makeup on, but he's not got the blue or red.
Yeah.
And then he kills that guy and he's got the red all over his face. I thought that in itself could have been a cool Joker costume. Like if that had been the first time that we'd
He
seen...
just never washes his face again. He just leaves the blood on it.
I don't know. It looked like an alternative version of what the Joker could look like, and I thought it was quite
It
cool.
was almost a reflection of his psyche because I don't know if you've noticed.
Yeah,
but
one half.
One half was mostly bloody, and
Yeah.
then it kind of just spattered over to his right, and so
Yeah. You know how you're saying like you see shades of who he could be. For me, there's one scene in particular where he looked kind of terrifying, and it was where he's walking down the street in slow motion, like full get up, and he's smoking his cigarette, and there's a look in his eye where you can just tell he doesn't care anymore.
he knows who
He's
he is
not like
now.
yeah, like he's not human anymore. He's lost all sense of like, you know, humanity, and he just looked like in that moment I was like, yeah, that guy is gonna fuck some shit up. And right at the very end, not in the same way, but almost in more of like a fun way, when he's in the asylum and he's like running back and forth and the guard's chasing him.
Yeah,
like
almost with glee.
That was very Joker to me.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, yeah, that's. Yeah,
When he comes out with the blood covered over his shoes.
Yeah, for a second I was like, hang on, what? And then I was like, oh fuck, the woman. Like, I love how they don't even show you. Like, it's almost like it doesn't matter. It's like it's almost not worth showing it to us because it didn't matter to him. Like, it's just one more at this point.
Exactly.
So I love that.
Don't worry though, you can fill in the blanks. You know very quickly what's happened there.
Yeah, but it's a nice. I don't know whether that was the editor's idea or Todd Phillips' idea, but the way that they didn't even show that, I thought was nice.
Yeah, and the contrast to like what was a perfectly clean white floor as well. Which
Yeah.
It just shows that shit's about to go down.
Yeah.
The Joker's alive, baby!
Those are our spoilery thoughts on Joker.
Spoilery thoughts.
I messed that up like 5 times. Yeah, thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you very soon.